So during the beta, I had a Flurry build for my rogue, and this was a lot of fun. So it's like a low-level build. You start out with like your generator is puncture. It applies vulnerability. Then you use Flurry to spread that vulnerability, and as you level up, you can add to it. You got Smoke Grenade, which increases damage to those enemies affected by Smoke Grenade. Lucky Hit reduces the cooldown. Then I'm using Shadow Step here, just for more mobility mainly. But you'll see the synergy in the items. Shadow Imbuement for AoE, because the enemies explode on death. And Poison Imbuement for single target, that's just extra damage. It's just... This is like the level 25, where you kind of cap out. And so for items, basically, the reason I started this is because Flurry, you can get this, instead of doing a cone, it does a circle around you, and you get a little bit of damage boost, and this is actually a rare imprinted to be a legendary, so it's missing a property, but that's fine. So this is what it's based around, but then I got these Shadow Step boots, which they give you an additional charge of Shadow Step. I was like, okay. And I had this dealing direct damage to dazed with an agility skill grants stealth. And then when you come out of stealth, you have control impairment reduction. So that kind of helps you out a little bit there. So yeah, like the Smoke Grenade dazes enemies, and then in the skill tree you take points into like damage against dazed enemies. And then my gloves, well, in addition to that, there's this ring that I got where when you break stealth, you drop stun grenades that deal damage, and I think it drops like, I don't know why it doesn't specify, but I think it drops like 3 or 4 stun grenades on the ground around you, and then it blows up. So that's a decent amount of damage, like 1,000 damage there. Just like extra, just basically free damage, right? And that doesn't really matter. This one, dealing direct damage to a vulnerable enemy, has 39% chance to daze them. So there you get like more damage because they're dazed or crowd controlled. And the weird thing here is, so I have this too, where agility skill reduces the cooldown of your subterfuge skill, which the subterfuge skill is the Smoke Grenade. So essentially, it's super fucking confusing, but it all kind of meshes together, because if I use Shadow Step with this, like the agility skill will make it so the next Shadow Step will make it so the next Smoke Grenade will have a 40% reduced cooldown. So you I guess you'd start with Puncture, so that you make the enemies vulnerable. Dash to them with Shadow Step, because this is like a throwing knife. Dash to them with Shadow Step. So, and then use your Smoke Grenade, which has a 40% reduced cooldown. And then because they're vulnerable on the Smoke Grenade, the lucky hit is reduced cooldown because they're vulnerable. And then your next Shadow Step has 50% increased damage because of this again. It says your subterfuge skill is increased. But in addition to that, if I back up a little bit, when you Smoke Grenade and it dazes the enemies, I guess that's not really backing up. Once they're dazed and you do your second Shadow Step, on your second Shadow Step on the dazed enemies, it will actually, right here, this will cause you to go into stealth, And then if you attack with your Flurry, it will then break stealth and drop the stun grenades, dealing even more damage. So it's just this like crazy combination. But and in the between there, like before you Flurry, you want to do Shadow Imbuement if you have lots of enemies, because then you have your stun grenades, you have you have all kinds of stuff going on, right? And when they have a lot of health, you'll burst them down quite quickly. If it's only a single target, yeah, you probably want to use the poison instead, but especially at level 25, it doesn't even matter at this point. Like, this will decimate most stuff, especially if you, for some reason, grind legendaries at level 25. But that's all we had in the beta, so, you know. Or upgrade 2 legendaries, which is mostly what I had to do because I did not have great luck. And then the only other, a couple other imprint things here, like crowd control enemy. There's a 42% chance when you hit a crowd controlled enemy, so like an enemy that's dazed, 42% chance that spreads to another enemy nearby. I ended up just throwing this on here because, I don't know, any attacks increase armor for 4 seconds when you deal damage, and it stacks up to 50%. Obviously, this is just going to give you a ton of strength or toughness, or
thank you. I appreciate that.
Whatever you want to call it. This is just a dead stat for no reason. And then obviously, yeah, you would take like close enemy damage. You could take shadow damage, poison damage. I have some physical damage, and these are physical damage skills, but you're mainly using poison and shadow. I believe that shadow and poison would replace the physical damage on this, so physical damage probably does nothing, but it's there. Vulnerable damage is going to be amazing because you're making everything vulnerable, but with your puncture, and then Flurry spreads the vulnerability. And that's about it. I applied this imprint. Damaging elite gives you 5 energy. I found this other ring too, where it increases your dodge chance, and when you dodge, you gain primary resource. That one sounds interesting too. But yeah, that's about it with this build. It's pretty fun.
Well done.
You can just jump in and AoE Flurry everything, and and with specialization, I took Inner Sight, because essentially it just like marks a bunch of enemies, and once you've done enough damage to the marked enemies, then you will gain 4 seconds of unlimited energy, and it actually, like, if you're empty, like, it'll fill your energy pool too. So that is actually quite good. But yeah, I guess just looking at the skill tree here, I just put 1 point through here. Flurry, yeah, I got an extra point from my skills, plus I fully stacked into it. And Shadow Step, I got a couple extras just from items. I really only put 1 point in there. This is just from items as well.
Sorry.
Smoke Grenade, just 1 point through here. I put Exploit, increased damage to healthy and injured. So that's above 80% health and below 20%. Deal 9% more to vulnerable, which is good. I was trying this one. Imbued skills gain 15% increased critical hit chance, just because at low level you have like no critical hit chance, so it's probably helpful, but not very. Just 1 point in here. Actually, the poison I'm getting from an item. That's why it doesn't show the line drawn, but you can just put it on your skill bar. And that is it. That's it, that's all. But yeah, this is a lot of fun. Hope you guys can try it out and enjoy it for yourselves.